All right, everyone. Hello. Welcome to another edition of Post Perez. This is the October 2024 edition of the show. My name's WH Park, along with the Empress, Karen Peterson. And we're going to run down some shows that have happened, some results, see what's going on in the world of different promotions across Japan, and talk about some upcoming shows as well. Give our thoughts on things we've watched. I've watched, I'd say half about the things that we're going to talk about of like results. I've watched actually, and I have thoughts and some things I haven't watched yet. Mainly New Japan. Haven't watched New Japan, but I've watched a lot of All Japan, and I watched a little bit of Noah and some MARIGOLD, but a lot of Bushi Road. I don't know. I haven't got around to watching, but that's okay. That's what Karen's here for, because Karen, she's writing about it. She's covering this stuff with bombastic Bruce Lord. I'm going to come up with a new nickname for Bruce Lord every fucking episode, Karen. The Brewmaster, maybe that's next month. Brewmaster, Bruce Lord. Unless he emails me and says, WH, please stop that. Okay, then maybe I'll just stop. But anyways. Karen, how are you today?
I'm doing all right. It's been a very hectic couple of weeks since we've last talked. But yeah, we're here. I'm excited. I always enjoy like unpacking what's going on over in Japan with you. So,
well, I'm gonna be in Japan in a I don't want to say exactly when, but I'm gonna be in Japan before the end of the year.
Lucky
for about 3 weeks. And someone asked me, "Are you excited?" And I've said, "I'm not." Right, it's a bit of ways. I'm not really excited. I actually feel a little bit nervous about it because I don't know. It's like I'm going to be there for about 3 weeks, and I don't know if the entire 3 weeks is going to be, I don't know, filled. There might be days where I just like stay at my friend's house and just do nothing, which would be fun, which would be fine. I think I'm going to have to take a nap here and there.
Yeah,
especially in the early part of my trip to get over the jet lag. But I worry. My big worry is like I'd be like, oh, I'm at the airport to come back to Toronto. I'm just like, no, I don't want to come back to Toronto. But I'm also worried that I'm going to be like, man, can't wait to get back to Toronto. Like, I'm kind of curious to see how my feelings about being back in Japan are, because I'm not staying. I like, it was different because for 10 years I'd be like coming back to Toronto, but I'm like, oh, I'm going back to Japan, and I'd be like, oh, some things I miss about Toronto, of course, but now it's reversed. So I don't know how it's going to feel necessarily. And like, I don't think it's going to be like an annual thing for me to go back to Japan. Yeah. I think that'd be a bit much. Like, so like the only way I would go permanently back to Japan would be like, if I win the lottery. I can just
the dream,
get the millionaire's visa. There's such a thing. They have they have the millionaire's visa.
Yeah, you have to be able, like for United States, you have to be able to, or was it they also have like the freelancers visa, but you have to be able to consistently make over like $75,000 US plus have your own health insurance.
Right.
So it's like, unless you're a very successful freelancer.
Mm-hmm.
Or you win the lottery, or you marry rich, come into an inheritance, what have you. It's not like the easiest relocation that you can make.
What, to Japan, you mean?
Yeah.
For that. No, but again, here's my thing is like, I never want to work for a Japanese company ever again.
Yeah.
The work culture, even for like foreigners, compared to even like the most simplest job path here in Canada, and probably also to some very similar to the United States, is completely different. Here's my philosophy generally, Karen, is, and I said this in Japan, I told people, I don't live to work. I work to live.
Yeah.
I work to have to make money so I can enjoy my life. I don't spend my life thinking about how I'm going to make my company better.
Yeah.
Of course, like the work I do for whatever company I was working for, it would be like, I hope it benefits company, but I'm not sacrificing all these like horrible, this is the blackout period. You can't go anywhere during this time. Yeah. What? Fuck you. That's bullshit.
Yeah,
Like
no.
once you go past probation and you accumulate what they call like paid time off, like, and that exists in Japan as well. You should be able to take your vacation anytime you want, depending on what your job is, of course.
Yeah.
And like what you're, but like as an English teacher, like working a kaiwas, which are like private courses and stuff like that, not in a public school system, but people pay a fee. It's like, it's like going to a gym, but for English, right?
Yeah.
I felt, no, I should be able to take my vacation not only during what they call the high season, but whenever I want, or combine it with a high season. Of course, I mean, that's the problem with that is like everybody wants to do that.
Yeah.
So I probably wouldn't do that. I would like to travel not in high season and go like, oh, I'm going to go in like, I don't know, June, which I don't think is high season, for example.
No, that's wedding season. So a lot of people they're only traveling to go to other people's weddings.
There you go.
Yeah, for me, no, I remember when I was over there, I was far happier teaching in the public school system than I was working corporate. Because when I worked in Tokyo, the 5.5 months I was in Tokyo, I was miserable because the Eikaiwa I worked for, they promised me, weekends off, this and this and that and that. And their weekends off was actually two consecutive days off. So they gave me Tuesday, Wednesday. And I'm like, that's not a weekend. They're like, well, it's like a weekend. I'm like, yes, but it's not a weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That would be a weekend off.
Yeah.
Not Tuesday, Wednesday.
The people you can enjoy the weekend with or do stuff with are people who have the same schedule as you, which would be your coworkers.
And that was pretty much nobody because they had such a high turnaround rate that it was hard to keep people.
But anyways, we digress. Yes. So yes, I will never ever work for a Japanese company ever again. Like if like a foreign company, Canadian company, American company, whatever, said, WH, we want to send you to Japan, but you work for us. We'll take care of your visa. We'll take care of your health insurance, the pension, the taxes. Our accountants will take care of everything. We'll find you a nice place to live.
Yeah. Not like some sketchy rental where they want like 2 months gift money for
the key money,
honor of renting there that you're never going to get back. Plus,
that's Japanese have to do that shit too. So the key money thing. Anyways, that being said, on a different note, I was told this week by my former co-host Jojo Remy and his lovely partner Christine that we as a trio will be going to see the reformed Oasis next August in Toronto. They're from Florida, Karen, and they're gonna come to Toronto. And Jojo contacted me, he's like, would you be interested in going to see Oasis? Because I saw Noel Gallagher and his High Flying Birds in Makahari with Jojo and Christine, and that was an amazing experience. And he said, would you want to do it? And like, which city do you want to go? And they said, we'll come to Toronto. Like, I was either going to be for me Toronto or Chicago, but Toronto it's much easier because I don't have to pay for accommodations. Yeah. And I said, sure, if you can get tickets, and they got tickets. And next year in a building that has yet to be built.
Oh,
that should be ready by
unbuilt building.
Well, it should be built from my understanding, it should be built by next August, which is when the concert will be. If they're still together, anything could happen between Noel and Liam Gallagher. That Liam just says some dumb shit about Noel's kids, and then it's over, and then it's okay. And then I still have the memory of seeing Noel Gallagher live, and he's my favorite member of Oasis. I'm not such a Liam fan, but it's a testament to how great I think the songwriting of Noel Gallagher is that I still enjoy Oasis songs, even though they're sung by a singer I don't really like that much.
Well, I hope it all pans out.
We'll see. I'll keep you and everyone here at Post Perez listening up to date. You know what we're gonna do though first, Karen?
What's that?
We're gonna do some plugs. So
all right.
I just want to get this out of the way. And that's the satin jacket. The long and winding road satin jacket. You see the Canadian price, which like if you're in the States, it's gonna be like the same, but lot lower. It's gonna look more palpable, I suppose. But hey, consider you're saving. You know, this is the pre-order. So basically, what the pre-order is you get this 10% off here. And so it's $157.50 Canadian. That's with free shipping. You are guaranteed the size you want with this. Let me just get scrolling this down here. And we also have the idea. So like also you're guaranteed if at any point you change your mind about your pre-order, we'll refund you 100%. Okay, before it ships. And as long as the pre-order window is still active, if you change your mind after the item has been dispatched, you will need to send the item back prior to receiving a refund. And then you can just click on the refund policy, but you're guaranteeing the size. Also, this is not going to be made to order because of the nature of a satin jacket. We are going to print these to fill the orders and then some extras, and then those will be stored in a warehouse. So, so once they're gone unless suddenly like Konosuke Takeshita and Eddie Kingston form a tag team and they're wearing these as their entrance jackets and everyone's gonna fucking have them. And then Richard Avian, our good friend, Dicky Bird, will put them back up on Chop Tees, of course, but
re-release them at a higher price.
So get the pre-orders now. And like, so though I'm not sure exactly when the window is closing, but hey, as of this recording, and we're going to be uploading this pretty quick after we record this, Karen. So you're still going to be in the window. Item is estimated to ship on October 31st, so the end of October. So you still got some time before the pre-order is done. But hey, you know what? This is a great looking jacket.
I love that it's the original design.
Yes, and I love the front. I love that I'm so closely associated with the post wrestling P. I love this logo, and then of course we have this beautiful font for the long and winding railroad here, and of course we got I got permission. I'm gonna say that whenever I can. Misawa,
a nice throwback.
Tawa and Kawashi, and yeah. There you go. We're going to exit out of that. But yes, check it out. If you're in the US, the UK, Canada, you will get the pricing for whatever currency is in the country that you're looking at the site on. And give it a shot. Chopped-tees.com. And then go to the Long and Winding Railroad tab. And then you can see the satin jacket and you can do your pre-order. And I'm excited. I hope, I don't know how many have been pre-ordered. I will be getting mine. Mine's already been pre-ordered, so I'll be getting mine set by hopefully. Maybe I think Dickie said a little bit sooner than everyone else, but we'll see. If we get it by the time we record our November episode, Karen, I'll wear it on the show. How about that?
I like that. It looks really good.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like I'm getting a lot of social media feedback about like how many people are just really liking it and stuff like that. But there you go. Anyways, just want to get that out of the way. Anyways, let's take that out. Let's get into the show. And before we get into what kind of our outline and our notes here, Karen, is there been anything that's like for you really stood out in wrestling in general the last couple of weeks before, Japan or even in North America or elsewhere?
Well, I mean, I did watch NXT's debut on the CW this past week because, my girl Julia decided to challenge for the NXT Women's Championship. It seems that she's doing very well in NXT. I like what they haven't stripped out everything that I love about her, probably minus the pile drivers, but other than that, it's just been, trying to keep up with everything. And there's just so much. And of course, Queen of the Villains is the talk of the town right now. And yeah, just trying to digest all the things, trying to get back in the swing of watching a lot of wrestling.
I haven't watched that match yet with Julia and it's Roxanne, right?
Roxanne Perez.
It's Roxanne,
yeah,
but
it was good. It was
I like how she carries herself so far in NXT, Julia, that is, and I like the flourishes she does with her ring entrance. Like, I like idol groups,
Yes.
So I like when they do like, where is it, the camera, like when they do the finger curl, like where's it, like that. She does that. She does that with like across her eye, and I'm like, that's class. That's top notch, Julia.
She's just trying to draw you in.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's like, whoa, I like that. I'm like, love it, love it. Keep it. Don't let anyone change it. But for myself, I watched that Will Ospreay Ricochet match from Dynamite. And I was laughing the entire.
Was it was as good as the
horrible.
original?
No, it was horrible compared to the original.
I mean,
I like the original. It's because they're trying to recreate something that was heavily choreographed, but meant to be look like spontaneous combat.
Yeah,
aerial combat in Korakuen Hall, and they just mimed it. I felt they were just doing karaoke instead of, you know what I mean? And then the audience is just, they're all Pavlovian dogs, and they just, oh yeah, it was sloppy. That was the other thing. Like, both these guys are heavier now, especially Will.
Yes,
and so I felt like, do something different. Like, you just, like, they're recreating all this, pretty much all the spots they're doing, and it looked so fake, because it was just like, oh, you're just recreating it. It's not even an attempt to do something new. And I just thought it was sad. I honestly think it was like a down, like kind of like something that Ospreay shouldn't have done if he's going to do that, because I feel like he's with fresh opponents. He does something different that makes this run in AEW feel a lot different from what he's been doing, what he did before in New Japan. But that being said, I do think, like, it's upwards and for Will Ospreay over there in All Elite Wrestling. And but yeah, I'm not really liking this Jon Moxley stuff, I gotta say. I think it's kind of uninteresting for me, and I just want Brian to keep the title for a long time.
Did you happen to see the YouTube video that New Japan released between Kenny Omega and Tanahashi meeting up at the office for the first time in 5.5 years?
I saw highlights of it, and the main point being that Kenny wants to face the Young Bucks with Tanahashi as his partner, and I do not want to see that. I might be one of the few people who doesn't want. I can't imagine there's too many people who want to see, I'm sorry, Tanahashi, and I hate saying this, like, in a high profile match. And who knows what the physical state of Kenny Omega is. Like, hopefully, he's overcoming his medical, ailments, and going to be able to have another run, for a lengthy amount of time before he has to retire. Hopefully that's not anytime soon. But, I don't like, and I've never really had a strong interest in the Young Bucks, as people may well know. Like, so, like, if that's a match that's going to have at Wrestle Dynasty, okay, just don't, put it, maybe not even the middle of the card, maybe just a little bit below the middle of the card, because I don't think it needs to be high on the card.
I watched the full video, and it was an interesting watch, in the sense that you can tell how much they both grown in the last 5 years, that they were willing to, because their rivalry, a lot of people were very invested in it, in the sense that people really believed that, and there was some thought behind it, that both of them really hated one another, and it was a very divisive decision for AEW to be launched at the Tokyo Dome while they were all still in the company, but kind of like one foot out the door. But it was interesting to see that, in a world where there's so much going on, that if Tanahashi and Kenny can bury the hatchet and move forward for the betterment of both of their companies, that it was a very brief piece, but it was very well done. And they also both openly discuss their health status, and how, if they were to, with regard to Kenny, if he were to return to the ring, they both want it to be with him at 100%. They don't want to rush him back before he's ready to do it, just for the sake of, trying to meet a date on a calendar, which I thought was a very nice, refreshing approach, instead of people rushing back to the ring before they're ready, purely for the sake of making money or making thinking that they can heal up before they're actually ready to come back.
I would hope that Kenny Omega has made more than enough money to live comfortably for the rest of his life, and that
I would think so.
He's not necessarily interested in jeopardizing his long-term health
Yeah.
for wrestling. I don't get that impression that he does. One thing like in the last couple of years I've really find about Kenny is that he has really he has matured. I feel like he's very different from the person you see when he was in New Japan and being the elite and and showing that side. I think there's maturity, and I think it's really reflected in how he treats the whole controversy with CM Punk when Punk was in AEW versus the Young Bucks, who were just really immature about it all, and they try to take digs wherever they can against Punk, and Punk's just like whatever. And Kenny Omega's like, no, I don't have a problem with him actually. Like, we buried the hatchet. As far as I know, we're fine. Like, I don't gonna bring him up. I'm not gonna make fun of him in my promos or angles or whatever. And so it's nice. And if they have that match, I think it'd be a nice moment for fans. I got to see, Tanahashi and the reign of, I got to see him win the G1. I got to see him and the reign of Kenny. Great moment in my wrestling fandom life, being at the Tokyo Dome for that. But yeah, like we'll see. And then hey, it's an attraction. I just don't not worry, but like I don't want like their position on the card to take away from like up and coming stars in the company, who some we'll talk about, like, because we had a return to New Japan, which I'm very excited about. Yes. But yeah, we're gonna start with Joshi. Let's talk about Stardom, and they had some big shows recently.
Yes.
But I want to talk about in a couple of days. We're gonna have
tomorrow.
We're gonna have.
Bro, by the time this is live, it'll probably already happened.
Maybe, yeah. Nagoya Golden Fight 2024 at the Dolphins Arena in Aichi, and that's gonna happen tomorrow, as of this recording. And let's talk about this show. And how excited are you for this show, Karen?
I mean, I'm always excited first whenever Stardom has a show. My biggest beef is that they have a streaming platform and yet they charge outrageous pay-per-view prices monthly for their shows. As much as I enjoy Stardom, I can't afford to regularly watch it in real time anymore, just because it's not financially feasible or responsible for me. But I do.
And honestly, and to that point, if I may, is like it's irresponsible on their part to do that. It's like you want to reach a larger audience, and you keep on talking about like we want to penetrate the Western market more. We want to attract more fans. How are you going to do that when you're making them pay double? Pay twice for your big shows included into you're getting money from, you're getting money from the live gate. You're getting money from sponsors. So why don't you just put it on Stardom World and people are subscribing to that? Like, why would I subscribe anymore to Stardom World if I'm not getting the big shows? And again, it's such a backwards way of thinking about it, and like for the most part, New Japan, you can watch most of their shows, their big shows on the New Japan World if you subscribe to it. And so it's two different companies, but there's two different philosophies. I don't really understand this idea.
Yeah.
So, but this card.
I mean, and the other good thing is that to make it more accessible, they are having Walker Stewart do English commentary on it with Tom from Stardom, who took over after Sunny left, and then Waka Tsukiyama from Empress Nexus Venus is going to join them on commentary. So, I mean, they're making steps in the right direction. The problem is that adding English commentary isn't enough. You need to make it affordable to your fans. And especially now that they're under the New Japan umbrella, they need to get on that, building a platform for both companies and keep it at a reasonable price. I've seen some people say that, oh yeah, well, if the price doubles, I'm going to still pay for it. But I'm like, why would you want to pay double? Because then you're still essentially paying for two streaming platforms.
You have to vote with your wallets, everyone.
And it's one of those things, like, it's like I am all about supporting the companies and helping them make money, but at the same time you got to be more reasonable about your pay-per-view prices. If you're not giving me a 5-star Grand Prix final every single month, or Stardom Dream Queendom level end of the year show every single month, you should not be charging that price monthly for people, sometimes twice a month.
No, for sure. But the card itself, what are your thoughts about this upcoming show?
I'm excited to see Toni Storm back in a Stardom ring for the first time in a very long time. I don't know. I enjoy her timeless Toni Storm, character. Excuse me, character. However, I really wish they would just let her be Toni Storm from the Indies, from the UK Indies, because I feel like she did more wrestling. Like it was less character. And I love her character work. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like for a match with someone like Mayu, I really want it to be about the wrestling and not about the AEW storyline of her, Mina Shirakawa, and Mariah May, which I'm worried about that it is going to turn into that.
I feel like when she's in the ring, and depending on the context of like who she's facing, like Toni Storm, I think is far more interesting now than she was before for me. And it has nothing to do with like the timeless Toni Storm character. I think she does that as a character for American television, right? And if it's American television, I think it's kind of interesting and funny to see it in Japan, especially her doing the entrance coming out in Cork and Hall. But I think when she faces Mayu Utami, and this is going to be for the IWGP Joshi Championship. They call it that officially? I thought it was just
it's IWGP Women's Championship.
Okay, so the
who gave you that information, WH Park?
Oh, it was like the site I was looking at. They say Joshi. They call it Joshi Championship.
I just noticed that. I was like, wait, what? The what now?
Anyways, unless they did it officially, and you're not aware of it. I don't know.
I feel like I would have found out it.
But I think that'll be a very good match.
Yeah.
Because they do have history, because Toni did work a lot in Stardom back in the day, before the Bushiroad purchase, before she went to NXT and WWE, and then of course ended up in AEW. I'm not too worried about that. I think that will be a very, very good match. My prediction is that they're going to put the belt on Toni Storm.
You think so?
I mean, I'd probably be wrong, but I would say like there's, she's such a big star, American star, that there might be something like, New Japan would be like, maybe we should put our belt on her, like it's like how they put the strong belt on Mercedes right now.
Yeah, which is fine if they're going to regularly send Toni to Japan or to the US tour stops to defend it. That's my biggest thing, is that if you're going to put these belts on AEW talent, I'm fine with it, provided that they are regularly defending it and not just parading it around and not actually defending it. And not in like 5-minute, 3-minute matches on like Collision.
I think they don't care. The companies today don't care about that thing. They just want, she's a big star in America. We're going to put our belt, because then it to them, it adds a prestige for the title for them, and like, and they can bring her in for big shows, so I think that's there's those kind of like are the criteria for my thinking that that New Japan are gonna put the belt on Toni following this match, and we'll see. I don't really know what Mayu has left yet, needs the belt for anymore. Like I think she's done all she can with that title, and she's cemented herself as like the premier person who's held that belt so far. And maybe she wants to do something different. Maybe she wants to go for white again. Maybe she wants to go for the red again. Be tag team champion again. I think it frees her up for like storyline possibilities of doing something different with different people, and not having to be defending that belt, but being a challenger again is also a very interesting kind of role for Mayu. Especially she's been champion for quite a while now.
Yeah, because she beat Mercedes back in April of this year. No, last year. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
But the other thing is that it all depends on when they're going to showcase this title. Because my biggest beef about the IWGP and the New Japan Strong Women's Championships is that they often get defended on Stardom shows more than they do on New Japan programming at times. So, especially when it comes to Wrestle Kingdom, Wrestle Dynasty, how are the, because Stardom isn't billed for Wrestle Kingdom, but they are billed for Wrestle Dynasty amongst CMLL, AEW, ROH, and New Japan. So it's the, I don't want these belts to start becoming an afterthought, because Stardom on its own prior to the 2 New Japan belts had an overabundance of championships. So
yes, we can get rid of these, but so that's the semi main. Mayu Iwatani versus Toni Storm for the IWGP Women's Title. Let's talk about the main event. And that would be, Tam Nakano defending her World of Stardom Championship against challenger Suzuki. This will be her second title defense. And how are you feeling about this match?
I feel like this was the match we were supposed to have last fall, when Suzu won the 5-star, but Tam had injured her knee, which resulted in her vacating the belt. Then it became Suzu and Maika for the belt, which started Maika's reign with it. So I'll be curious to see if they're going to, give Suzu a win over Tam, or if it's going to be Tam Road all the way to the last show of the year.
So you're not sure
I'm not sure. Like what I think the smart move is to put it on Suzu. I just don't know if Stardom at the moment is brave enough to make that decision.
I'm gonna say, this is a tough one. I can see the pros and cons.
Yeah.
For either wrestler to win. I feel, she just won the belt, Tam Nakano. And I feel like maybe they're going to just keep the belt on her for a little while, maybe to the end of the year for the big show. This is only her second title defense. Unless you can think of a story and match that they can build to from now until the Queendom show at the end of the year that would draw better than a Tam match with somebody with Suzu instead.
See, the problem is that the match that I think they should do for the red belt would be Tam versus Saya Kamatani. I just don't know if they're gonna have a heel Saya Kamatani go after Tam in the biggest show at the end of the year.
Well, we will find out. Otherwise, I'm not like the rest of the card. The only thing that stands out for me is Hazuki versus Starlight Kid, because they I don't recall, like, when Hazuki was in Oedo Tai, of course she would fight everyone in the Stardom Hontai army, now called Stars. And that would include, of course, a young, a fresh-faced Starlight Kid.
Yeah.
Starlight Kid is basically, Azumi's rival, but I don't really recall too many interactions between Hazuki and Starlight Kid. And I saw the press conference to promote this match, and like Hazuki was very dismissive of Starlight Kid, and Starlight Kid was like really pissed at like, how dare you disrespect me. So I feel we're gonna get a fight with this match. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I think that will probably be the sleeper hit of the entire show. Hopefully it's not that low on the card. Honestly, it should come between the Future of Stardom Championship and the IWGP Women's Championship. There's also Tekla versus Natsupoi for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. And I'm wondering if we're getting into historic crossover season, because at Korakuen Hall earlier this week, Clark Connors showed up and speared Natsupoi out of her boots in order to help Tekla, help soften her up for Tekla. So I don't know if this is a one-off with Tekla possibly joining the War Dogs, but I mean, if anyone's going to join the War Dogs from Stardom, it needs to be Tekla. But I don't know where they're going with it just yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, see, I'm not really a fan of like that kind of like crossover between these two brands. Again, I don't like the idea. Then it just kind of cements the notion that Stardom is New Japan's women's division, which that's terrible. That's a terrible thought.
Unfortunately, that feels like the direction it's getting moved into.
Yeah.
The longer that they are under the shoulder of New Japan right now.
Let's move on. Let's talk about a company that's not the women's division of a men's company in Japan, but its own entity still, and that is MARIGOLD. And did you get a chance to watch the Dreamstar Grand Prix of this year, Karen?
I watched bits and pieces of the final.
So I didn't watch every match of the final. I watched basically like kind of the maybe the finals, and I watched the Star League matches. So of the last one. So I watched I like Miku Ano versus Nanae Takahashi.
Yeah.
I thought was a really fun match. And for her to go to 15-minute time limits with a legend with passion herself. Nanae Takahashi, I thought really good for Miku Ano. And I have to say, I really enjoyed Sari versus Bozilla.
Yeah.
Sari is just great when she's the underdog, but like it just shows her like incredible like fighting spirit. Like she's just such feisty, like just full of like, I don't care how much bigger you are, I'm gonna kill you. That's what I love about her.
Yeah, and I'm glad that she's back in Japan, where her temperament and her ability is better appreciated. It feels like a better match. Like I feel like WWE really missed the ball with her. They missed the mark with her because it's not that she lacks the wrestling skills. She has the wrestling skills. I just like it just seems like she's far more comfortable and in her skin, or her feels comfortable in her own skin back in Japan. From the Dream League matches, I really enjoyed Mirai versus Nagisa Nozaki. And what was the other one? Natsumi Shozuki versus Chika Goto. I know Chika hasn't been wrestling for that long, but Natsumi Shozuki she has the I'm the veteran kind, but I'm also gonna have a big chip on my shoulder about it. So she gives off the big senpai energy, which I always enjoy seeing.
So like if we were gonna make an analogy, she would be kind of like, I don't know, Tenru, Minoru Suzuki type of senpai. Like I'm gonna bully the younger wrestler and make them prove themselves
a little grumpy about it.
That's good. You need that. You need that in any wrestling company. You need that type of character. And
because Nanae Takahashi's out there having too much fun trying to inject passion into everybody's lives.
That's right. We need someone who just wants to beat the shit out of people younger than themselves. But our championship match, our Dreamstar final, was Utami Hayashishita and taking on Mai Sakurai. I really like the booking of Mai Sakurai in this company because they're not trying to push her too fast. They give her big matches, and like she doesn't always necessarily win them, but being in that match and in losing, it elevates her. Yeah. And what I really like about MARIGOLD is their booking, because it does remind me, I think Rossi Ogawa really goes back to the past and looks at, what kind of wrestling did I like before, and that's how I'm going to try to book MARIGOLD, and I'm going to try to book it differently from how I booked Stardom. And with that, like I really feel like there's a bit of, and not being like a as well versed in classic Joshi history, so I don't know how much of an influence like AJW was on his booking, or what he did previously in Arasan and things like that. But I feel there's like some Giant Baba in the booking, and All Japan Pro Wrestling in this, in how he positions people in their roles in the company. I feel Utami is the Misawa of this company. When Julia left, and he always knew that she was going to leave pretty soon after the formation of MARIGOLD. It was pretty much an open secret that Utami was going to be, okay, she's going to be the ace of my company, because that was what he was positioning her from her debut in Stardom to like her lengthy title reign with the red belt in Stardom. But yeah, and then then you have Mirai, you have Mai Sakurai, and I feel like Bozilla is kind of that Stan Hansen role right now, and sorry is just weird because she's a freelancer, so she doesn't really have like, if you say, because she's not, you can't guarantee like how long she's going to be in the company. But I feel she has, because she's so, such a great fighting spirit, kind of like, she shows her strength and like her passion in wrestling is she kind of reminds me of, like, I suppose she would be Kena Kobashi in this role. So I really like that aspect of the company. So Utami wins and I thought it was a great match. With the Torture Rack Bomb, and she's the first Dreamstar Grand Prix winner, and she will take on the winner of Sari versus Bozilla. And what do you think is the booking going to be for that?
I think the booking is going to be Sari, because Utami did say at the post tournament press conference that she would challenge for the MARIGOLD World Championship at MARIGOLD First Dream on January 3rd at Oda City Gymnasium. I feel like her versus Sari is the match that needs to be had for right now. Not for, Bozilla is doing great, but it's if Utami is to be the one to carry the company forward as a MARIGOLD original, and not a, I like Suri, but she also has like belts in like 4 other companies. She's got a lot of gold with her. But she also is not a contracted wrestler, and I'm always a fan of, those who, day in day out, they're the ones that keep the lights on. And she made a very big, life choice to walk away from the safety net that was Stardom to, join this venture. And I think if you're going to start off the new year, because this is going to happen during Wrestle Kingdom week, I have a feeling that it's going to be running opposite Stardom's New Year's show on the same day. So that is going to be an interesting turnout to see how those numbers go. But I feel like if you really want to make a statement, you put the red belt on the crimson red belt. They've got like very specific namings for these new belts, but you put that belt on Utami at the start 2025 off strong with her.
So I'm gonna agree. I think you're right. Like, I completely agree. It's the match that you need to do for Utami. It's like and then Bozilla can, like, depending on like how long she's planning to stay in MARIGOLD, like she can get the belt at some point, have a run with it, and then put over someone else. Maybe she'll put over Mirai for that belt in the future. But yeah, I think it should be Utami's time. I think Utami did amazing stuff with the red belt over in Stardom, and I think she can do the same thing with the MARIGOLD World Championship. But
absolutely.
Let's talk about an upcoming show on October 7th at Korakuen Hall. This is a pretty big show. I'm looking at this card, and we have 2 title matches here. Karen, what are we going to see at this Korakuen Hall show?
Do you want me to start with the title matches or do the undercard too?
It's up to you, my friend. It's up to you.
All right. Well, let's do a slow build. So there's going to be a couple of undercard matches, including Rei Saito and Komomo Minami versus Yuki Minami. There's too many Minamis. And Myla Grace. Misa Matsui versus Chiaki. Chiaki reminds me of Kagetsu. Like it's a I know they're 2 completely different wrestlers, but just like the vibe I get, it gets me in my like 2018-19 Stardom vibes when I see Chiaki on screen. Utami and Kizuna Tanaka versus Nanae Takahashi and Naoi Ishikawa. Sari and Miku Aono versus Bozilla and Nagisa Nozaki. Now, these are really great and interesting combinations, and they're really starting to pair off a lot of the, recent signees and a lot of their, ones that have just passed their, passed their protest within the last year, and they're already starting to put them onto the cards and starting to pair them off, which I think is great. Then we have the Super Flyweight Championship, which is Natsumi Shozuki versus Victoria Yuzuki. I think that might be one that we want to earmark because I feel like they're going to start throwing a lot of energy behind Yuzuki. And then the Twin Star Championship match is going to be Mirai and Mai Sakurai versus Koki, Amare, and Chikagoto. Again, Amare and Goto have only been wrestling professionally because they were in Actress Girls before coming over, but they to themselves they consider that their debut as wrestlers was technically at the first show in Korakuen Hall earlier this year. So I feel like they're also going to give Mirai and Mai a somewhat solid run with these belts before taking them off them. So I feel like they're gonna probably have it for a little while. But I'm excited. It like they don't even have the red belt or white belt listed on here yet. So I am curious to see if they're just gonna not have those belts defended on every single show.
No, I don't think they need to. I think it's great if you're Korakuen Hall show. You're gonna have a big Korakuen Hall show with two title matches, and it's like like for example, like your junior heavyweight title, the Super Flyweight Championship, and then I love when they had when companies headline shows with a tag team title match, because it's emphasizes the importance of that championship, and also emphasizes like how you feel about the champions, the people holding the belts, how you view them, because Mirai and Mai Sakurai are future, like, you know, they're going to be up there with Utami in
Absolutely.
like in at the top of the card, and like who Rossi Ogawa is going to depend on to carry the company for the next 5 to 6 years. And then I think Koka Amari and Chikugoto, this is like, you know, a great test for them to be in the main event in a title match as a tag team. They don't have to, the pressure is less because they're not, you know, being in a singles match. And I think people are going to be very happily, you know, surprised. I really like, from what I have seen of Mirai and Mai Sakurai, I really like this team.
Yeah,
I think they give off that like classic All Japan tag team, you know, two big stars forming a tag team together. And I like, you know, I want them to see like, one thing I also do like about Marigold is like they do have like people being paired together regularly. They don't like just always switch partners. It's like, okay, we are a tag team. This is my regular tag partner. Like how they used to do back in, you know, classic PURORESU and stuff like that.
Yeah, they really haven't gone the let's make different stables or different units for every single, like put every single person into a bucket and then like have them fight against each other all the time. Like there's no swirling of the drain, fighting the same people over and over and over again.
I think it's more interesting, and I think that's more interesting. And I think
absolutely,
it's different from Stardom, because like it's not a unit based, you know, promotion like Stardom is, and like, you know, like I think some of the pitfalls you sometimes get with booking, and say like Dragon Gate is like, and New Japan is unit versus unit, and it's always like, okay, but wow, maybe I want to see two people in the same unit fight each other.
Yeah.
You know, like, and we don't necessarily have that here. So
yeah, and it not only be like once a year or twice a year in like a tournament format, like. Yeah, so I'm excited. I am. They're gaining momentum, and they're really putting a lot of different promotions on notice. I would be curious to see which other promotions start working with them, or which other freelancers start working with them, because one of the things I always liked about the women's scene in Japan was that outside of Stardom, a lot of them seem to have a lot of them work with one another, or there's just a lot of female freelancers that just work everywhere. But I don't know how that's going to go moving forward, because it seems like there's someone seems to have a bit of a greater hold on the scene overall.
Well, one company that's probably not going to be working with Marigold is Sendai Girls, because they seem to be very, very heavily invested in a business relationship with Stardom's, as reflected in a show they're going to have in Hokkaido on October 14th. In Chartres Gato Kingdom, Sapporo, in Hokkaido. Very, very interesting name for a venue.
You've never been to Chartres Gato Kingdom? It's very French.
I've never been to Hokkaido, actually, Karen.
Neither have I.
I've never been to Hokkaido, never been to Okinawa. That's
me neither.
My two regrets about living in Japan for 10 years
and
not going to either of those places. But you know, I've been to Fukuoka, I've been to, you know, tons of other places, and so one day, can't say never. So this is a show they're gonna have. It's a 5-match card that they've listed so far. Do you want to run these matches, and like what, like, you know, if there's anything that stands out for you beyond like the main event, which is the tag team title match?
Then I'm just gonna look at straight deadpan. Look at the semi-main event, because Meiko Satomura is showing up in the ring for the. It feels like she has, like, you know, she got spirited away to the WWE universe, and then she magically left the WWE universe. But we really haven't seen her wrestle all that often. She's done things here and there, but now that she's announced her retirement, that's scheduled for like end of April, beginning of May of next year, I feel like we're gonna see her on more shows with increasing frequency, and I'm very excited, because, you know, she helped start Sendai Girls. That was her project, so I'm very excited to see her in a ring again with Miyu Momono, who's been doing great things over in Marvelous, and like and if you're not on the Miko Wata bandwagon, I don't know what you're doing. I want her versus Shuri in a very kiki punchy match.
I mean, it could happen. Like we said, like, you know, there is a very strong association between Sendai Girls, Senjo, and Stardom right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think part of like maybe Mako's retirement tour would be like, okay, these are the people I want to face before I leave in singles, and I would imagine Shuri's has to be somewhere on that list. I love that, you know, Miyamoto is gonna fight both Mako Satomura and Dash Chisako.
Yes.
We talk about like someone who's like, you know, not a big wrestler, even for Joshi. But my God, it's the fight. The fight is big in
Yes.
Miyamoto, and I love when Miyamoto fights wrestlers who have one or more size than her, like say, you know, Chihiro. B, have more experience than her, and are and maybe a bit stronger than her, and that's both Mako and Dash here.
Yes.
And I'm not too familiar with Yurika Oka, her partner, but I imagine like if anyone's gonna eat the pen, it's gonna be her.
Yes.
So
she's a junior. She's a Senjo original, but she's still relatively new.
Yeah, probably Dash is just gonna probably beat the shit out of her. So
probably yes.
and Mako's gonna do the Scorpion kick and pin her 1, 2, 3, and then build up. Maybe the idea is to build up a singles match between Mako and Miyamoto. That'd be great. That'd be great. But what's our main event here? Because this is a very interesting main event.
I know why they're doing it. I just don't know if it's going to be the match we all hope it's going to be. It is going to be for the Sendai Girls World Tag Team Championships, featuring your current champions, which is Team 200 kilograms in Chihiro Hashimoto and you, versus Stardom's Natsuko Tora and Ruaka.
Okay, so explain what you mean by, you know, what the purpose of this match is.
So it's going to be a host fight because we do love a lady host fight. I hold Hashimoto and you on a completely different level of wrestlers compared to Natsuko Tora and Ruaka. Because I feel like we're going to get a lot of HATE involvement in this match, which is going to make it go sideways very quickly, and I'm not going to enjoy it.
You're probably right, unless like Senjo decides to like, you know, surround the ring and then just beat the shit out of Hate, which is probably not going to happen.
I mean, I would love to see Mako Satomura beat down a bunch of 20-somethings.
She can beat up Tekla. That'd be great.
Oh, Tekla would be you know, I think Tekla would be fine with Mako Satomura beating her up.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be great. It'd be great on television.
The third row, it'll be fine.
Great. But so do you think the Stardom team is going to win the titles?
No, absolutely not.
No, I think Raka is there to eat the pin.
Yes,
and get the shit beat out of her by Chihiro and you. So yes. It should be fun because they just got the titles back. This is their first title defense after regaining the title. So I wanted to mention that. That's like, and Senjo is so easily accessible.
Yes,
you know, you don't have to pay extra for this. It's on Wrestle Universe, or you might even be on their own YouTube channel. I love Senjo for making things accessible.
Senjo gives away a lot of great matches for free on their YouTube channel. So
they don't, because they can, Karen.
I know.
They it's based on live gates. That's how they make their money, is like merchandise at shows and drawing fans to their shows. And what's the best way to advertise your product? Put it for free and make it accessible.
That's the freeloaders have at it.
Yeah, well, that's how American television, it's American wrestling works, and that's how, like, honestly, like how most Japanese companies will survive. Is New Japan's not like, you know, they're like, okay, we have New Japan World. It's designed to draw people to enjoy it on the platform, and then when it comes to your town, they're gonna go see it live because they enjoy it so much. Stardom is kind of the complete antithesis of this with their how they book their premium live events, you know, or pay-per-views, whatever they want to call it. And it just makes me laugh because, like, you know, like places like Senjo, even like the smaller Joshi indies like Marvelous, Ice Ribbon, things like that, they make their shows accessible for fans to, like, okay, get a sample, not put everything on YouTube or whatever, but like they get a sample. Okay, I'm gonna go to a show. You know what, Karen? There might be a point where I can go see Ice Ribbon. I don't think I've ever seen Ice Ribbon. Maybe during my trip to Japan at Korakuen Hall. Either at Korakuen Hall or it's in Yokohama. Both are accessible for me during my trip.
Fujimoto I love her.
Well, how can I do that if I'm telling her that for myself?
Just, man.
I don't
help me, WH.
Don't tell Saki I said that. Don't tell my wife Saki Kashimiya I said that. Anyways,
we were caught in 4K, my friend.
Let's move on. Any other thoughts on things happening in the Joshi scene before we move on, Karen?
In Joshi scene, not really, but if you want to keep up to date with everything that's going on, there's a great little column called Dream Slam Monthly, which has updates, news bites, and hopefully coming soon some interviews. So
interviews.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Excuse me.
I'm trying to. Anyways, yeah, that's every month. That's a regular feature of at the site, which is free, by the way.
I know.
I just
give it to the freeloaders.
Well, Way gives it to the freeloaders.
Yes.
It's usually Way treating the freeloaders nicely. So, but hey, you know what? Karen puts a lot of work into this, and it shows. And
thank you.
It honestly is like, you don't need to go anywhere else.
Oh, thanks.
You need to go anywhere else. You don't need to go to other sites or whatever other platforms. Just go to Post Wrestling. We got all the news covered, and Karen has you fucking covered with the non-Weibo takes. Yeah, I said it.
I mean, I do have some Weibo takes.
Yeah, sure. So do I.
I just keep them to myself when you go off the internet.
But listen, Karen and I are both like kind of Weibo-ish to a degree, but we're not fetishists.
Absolutely not. No,
we're not and we both have experience living there.
Yes.
Oh, I know all about Japan. I've been there 5 times for 2 weeks in on end. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Being a tourist and working there full time are 2 totally different lifestyles.
Please shut the fuck up with your hot takes, because you went there for, you've been there multiple times for 2-3 weeks on end, and you saw a lot of sakura. You saw a lot of cherry blossoms in fucking April. Big fucking deal. Anyways, All Japan Pro Wrestling. Of all the men's companies, Karen, All Japan is my favorite. I really like how they book their young talent here. I like how they're elevating people to the main event scene in this company. So they recently they finished their 11th annual Oudou tournament, the Royal Road tournament on September 22nd at Korakuen Hall. It was sold out for 1,473 fans were in attendance, and this is great. Let me just talk about the tournament itself. We had 2 semifinal matches. The first one was Ryuki Honda taking on Kento Miyahara. Now you would think, okay, Kento's the established ace of the company. He's the perennial Triple Crown champion. He's held that belt 10 times now. Maybe I've lost count. But the winner was Ryuki Honda, because he's someone younger that they want to push. And that's I think Kento Miyahara is perfectly fine. Okay, we got to build new people, because he's invested in the welfare of the company, not his name necessarily, right? Yeah. Like, he's like, I'm secure. I'm always going to be a star in this company. I don't need to win everything. So that's what he's been doing the last year. He's been putting other people over and making more money draws. What a concept, Karen, of a star being secure in their own stardom, in their own place on the card, and thinking, you know what, I'm going to help elevate other people in the company so I can make money with them.
Yes.
And provide a living for myself and other people. What a thought.
And giving back to the company.
And to the fans. What a thought. The other Oudou semifinal match was Rei Saito, one of the Saito brothers. People tell me they're draws, Karen, but if you look at the numbers over a cage match, they're primarily draws, big draws in their hometown, not really anywhere else. Rei Saito versus Ren Ayabe, the very tall wrestler who I think would be a Karen wrestler. Oh. You just check young Ren Ayabe out. In a professional way, of course.
Ayabe, very respectfully and professionally.
That's right, non-Weibo-ish. Ayabe wins with the Iron Maiden. Love the name of that finisher. Let's look at the undercard. Shotaro Ashino, Dan Tamura, Ryo Inoue, Kurashio, Tokyo, Japan. That's Jacket Man, and Seigo Tachibana, the Yankee. as they like to call that character. The Yankee does the Yankee squat in front of the convenience store. Yep. Took on Musashi, Seiki Yoshioka, Joel Redmond, Hikaru Sato, and Fuminori Abe. I did not watch this match, but Tachibana wins over Abe to set up a rematch for the horrible looking and pretty much unnecessary Gara TV title, which I hate. But that they're going to have a match for that belt, a rematch for that belt. The Saito unit. So Jun Saito, the other Saito brother, Mr. Saito Narukidoi, formerly of Dragon Gate, and someone named Senor Saito took on Hokuto Omori, Kuma Arashi, and Cyrus. I will never watch this match because it features some horrible wrestlers that I do not enjoy watching. I would not waste my time. But the result of this is Hokuto won with a frog splash on Jun Saito so that him and Kuma Arashi can challenge for the World Tag Team belts. So it will be Rei Saito, Jun Saito, the current World Tag Team champions in All Japan, taking on Kuma Arashi and Hokuto Omori in October, on the 12th of October in Kyoto. And I have no desire to watch that title match, Karen. I hope the Saito brothers win. That's what I will say.
I would agree.
And finally, All Japan announced that they have some people in the dojo training, and 2 of their trainees will be making their debuts. They passed all their tests. They like checked all the all the boxes. Okay, it's time for you guys to debut. So we have Sakuto Terada, who is 168 centimeters, 65 kilograms. Born in 2005 from Ibaraki City in Osaka. He's making his debut along with Taishin Nagao, who is 164 centimeters, 75 kilograms, born in 2003. These 2 young gentlemen will become rivals with one another because they're basically the same size.
Yes.
And he's from Kushiro City in Hokkaido. And yeah, I mean, one thing I really like is that they give, if the wrestlers are talented at a young age, okay, let's develop them quicker than you would normally see in a lot of the bigger companies of, like, say, New Japan or Pro Wrestling Noah. So I'm very excited to see like what these guys are like, and maybe if how much promise they show.
And based on your professional assessment earlier about Ren Ayabe, I'll need to see him wrestle, but he does seem to fit the template of my preferred wrestler.
He's a very tall wrestler.
He looks very tall. He kind of, I guess the pictures I'm seeing, he kind of looks like Okada in the sense that he's wearing the short trunks.
He's taller than Okada.
Is he?
I think so. Yeah, he's kind of like, his gimmick is that he's a very tall wrestler in the company. So one thing I do like is that he knows how to use his size. He has a very nice drop kick, and he's a very good wrestler. I really like Yuma Anzai, who was the Triple Crown champion for a while. Great, such a promising young wrestler. And Ren Ayabe are kind of like my hopes of, like, okay, build around these guys. It's what I thought when Miyahara and Jake Lee, when he was good, we're like, okay, build around these guys. And you have Yuma Aoyagi and other people around, and it's like, and then it didn't turn out that way. Hopefully it turns out with Anzai and Ayabe kind of leading the next generation in New Japan past Kento Miyahara. We'll see, but I have high hopes. Hopefully they're not dashed. But the other big news in All Japan is that the teams and blocks were announced for their annual World's Strongest Tag League, Karen. So in A block, we have the Saito brothers, and they'll be in the same block as Musashi and Seiki Yoshioka. Yuma Anzai teaming with Rising Hayato. The emo, he says he's punk. He's got this emo gimmick, and he's
too much guy liner to be punk.
Yeah, it's emo. It's emo all the way, right? Shotaro Ashino and Dan Tamura, Hokuto Omori and Kuma Arashi, Daisuke Sekimoto and Kengo Mashimo. Wow, that's a very interesting tag team coming in. And then we have X and Double X. So we have a mystery team coming in. I think that will probably be announced like usually that's at the end of the year. This league, so probably maybe November or sooner. We'll find out who X or maybe the day of the first show. Who knows?
I mean, don't worry, gentle listener. It is not WH Park and Karen Peterson who are showing up as X and XX.
No. I'm not.
It is not us.
I'm not in the same fucking block as fucking Hokuto Omori and the fucking Saito brothers. Okay, I have better. I have much.
I don't want Sekimoto to like throw me into the third floor balcony.
Listen, me and Daisuke, Big Dice are good friends. We met in Toronto. I was wearing my astronauts T-shirt, and he's looked at me and he's like, "Hey, you know Takuya?" And I'm like, "I love Takuya. I've seen you wrestle at Shinkiba, man." And he was like, "Oh," he's really happy.
Yeah, when you say you saw a wrestler at Shinkiba, all of a sudden they're legends. They know you're one of the real ones.
They know me and Daisuke and Hideki Suzuki. Tight. We're tight. I'm tight with those guys. B block. Kento Miyahara and Davey Boy Smith Jr., who's doing like a lot of tours regularly for All Japan. So good for him. He's having fun over there. Teaming and they'll be in the same block as Riki Honda and Ren Ayabe. Suwama and Hideki Suzuki. Suwama's seemingly over his injuries and is feeling good to be in this tag league. Yuma Aoyagi and I love this. Yuma Aoyagi and Fuminori Abe. What a team. That's such a fun team. Hikaru Sato and Yuko Miyamoto. Cyrus and Hartley Jackson and Kurashio Tokyo Japan and Seigo Tachibana. My prediction, I am going to say the Saito brothers will win A block, and I think we're gonna get a challenger team from them. I'm gonna say give something for Kento to do. Him and Dave Boy Smith Jr. will win B block, and they will win the World Tag League and then challenge the Saito brothers in an upcoming show, probably in January of 2025 for the World Tag Team titles.
Does All Japan usually run a show during the first week of January like everybody else?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, usually on the second or third. The last show I saw was on January 3rd, 2020.
Okay.
With
so much
Robert Pearson. Who else? Who wasn't sitting with me? Robert Pearson, John Pollock, some other people. Dave Meltzer showed up, and John was like, "Hey, it's Dave. I gotta go talk to him during intermission." There you go. It was very
John needs to work less on his holidays.
No, he wasn't working. Well, I mean, he was a working holiday. We recorded. I was on a Raw review in their hotel room. It was fun.
Wow.
I had thoughts about the Raw at that time in 2020.
We all did.
So the last two shows for this tournament will be November 9th. No, sorry. That's the beginning of the tournament, Karen. Sorry, my mistake. The beginning of the tournament is November 9th, 2024 at Korakuen Hall in Tokyo. And then a month later on December 8th, we'll see the finals also at Korakuen Hall. Yeah, I can fit in a show if it's nearby where I'm staying in Japan for the last half of my stay there. But also, we're going to see some other things that happened on the show. Suwama returned from his injury. Suwama return match. Hideki Suzuki and Dave Boy Smith Jr. took on Yuma Aoyagi, Masakatsu Funaki, and Yuma Anzai. And David Boy Smith Jr. won with the Bulldog Bomb on Masakatsu Funaki. There you go. And also, so finally, Riki Honda took on Ren Ayabe. Ayabe won with the Death Roulette, and he wins the Oudou tournament. And he challenges Yuma Aoyagi for the Triple Crown on October 22nd at Korakuen Hall. I'm going to say Yuma Aoyagi retains the belt. I think it's a bit too early for Ayabe to catch up to Yuma Anzai. And I think it's time for Yuma to have a Kento Miyahara-like title reign with multiple defenses. And I think he's a great Triple Crown champion for the company right now. And I'm looking forward to that match because I think it'll be a great way to elevate Ayabe in this challenge and see what he's made of in a main event spot there. Okay, so upcoming for All Japan, the Hatage Kinen series. It's a tour they're running in October. So on the October 12th at Gyoda Green Arena, the main arena in Saitama, we're going to see, I'm just going to talk about the main matches here. 2 title matches, World Junior Heavyweight Championship match. The 69th champion, Mr. Saito Naruki Doi, will take on former champion Dan Tamura. This will be Naruki Doi's 4th title defense as well. We will see the World Tag Team titles defended. As we said, referenced earlier, Jun Saito and Rai Saito will take on the challengers of Hokuto Omori. Kuma Arashi, please, I don't even like the Saito brothers. Please, Saito brothers, please do not lose the titles to these 2 goofs. On the 13th at Kira Messe Numazu.
I saw that. I was like, you're going to get a shout out to
Shizuoka. Not a great building, Karen. It's all flat seats. It's hard
How's the air
see.
Conditioning in the summertime?
It's very nice. It's a very nice building, but they don't have stadium seating. It's all flat, so it's kind of hard to see.
Like a gymnasium floor seating.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm not a fan of those.
Not a big fan, but but the fans in Numazu will probably come out and have a lot of fun. That's great. If I was there, I would totally go to see this guy. It's on a Sunday. I could totally see it. Me and my boy Bong would have watched this show. We would have gone with his girlfriend Emily. We'd had fun. Then gone to like Akakara, get some nabe, some spicy nabe.
Oh God,
and yakiniku.
I need the weather to calm down and cool down here in Florida because I'm ready for soup season and nabe season.
There you go. So on this show in Numazu, we will have some interesting matches. I think for me, Yuma Aoyagi and Kento Miyahara will take on in a non-title match. There's no titles involved. Ren Ayabe and Riki Honda. And for the All Asia Tag Team titles, the 124th champions, Musashi and Seiki Yoshioka, will take on the challengers of Rising Hayato and Yuma Anzai. And I'm going to predict our challengers of Hayato and Anzai will become the new All Asia Tag Team champions, because you need to give something for Yuma Anzai. You need to give him a new belt, and being in a tag team is a good way to do that. And then finally, the last show of the Hatage Kinen series, we'll see we'll wrap up at Corkin Hall on October 22nd. We will have the Garo TV Championship, Fuminori Abe taking on challengers Seigo Tachibana. Our double debut match, Dan Tamura and Ryo Inoue will take on our debuting rookies, Sakuto Terada and Taishin Nagao. And then the Suwama 20th anniversary tag match, Suwama and mystery partner take on Hideki Suzuki and Shuji Kondo. So Hideki Suzuki is Suwama's current tag team partner, and Shuji Kondo was one of his former tag team partners. So my guess is that X is Shuji Ishikawa.
Ooh, okay.
His tag team partner from the Violent Giants. I love that tag team name. They were an awesome tag team, Karen. I don't know if you ever saw a Violent Giants like match. Very fun. It was great. I love the Violent Giants. Great stuff. And the Triple Crown Championship will be defended with Yuma Aoyagi taking on the Oudou tournament winner, Ren Ayabe. I think this is a great show. If I was in Japan, it's on a Tuesday, I probably couldn't have gone, but I would love to. Maybe I would have just called in sick to work and just taken the non-paid time off, Yeah, let's move on. Let's quickly go to Noah here. Really interesting, Karen. They've named their junior heavyweight champion, their junior heavyweight tournament. Not their full tag junior league, but it's kind of like a kind of interim, kind of like the New Japan Cup or the Oudou tournament, but for juniors. The N Innovation tournament. I think it's supposed to be double innovation like that. I think that's supposed to be.
The innovation.
Innovation. Nunavut. In Northern Canada.
I'm guessing it's Noah Innovation Tournament.
Yeah. Anyways, that was gonna be that's gonna be held between October 30th, and November 6th. So first round matches. It's a single elimination tournament. 10:30, October 30th, November 2nd, and the semifinals final will be on November 6th at Corkin. So it's a tournament of 8 people, and it's all junior single elimination. So Sunny Voyage 2024. It's interesting they're going to call an October show because the sun is going to go down soon, sooner than usual
at 4:00 in the afternoon.
That's right. In Japan. Sunny Voyage 2024, October 30th at Bandijima Multi-Hall Square Okama in Niigata. We'll see Dragon Bane take on Kai Fujimura in the first round match, and Yuto Kikuchi will take on Yu Owada in the other first round match. And then on a couple of days later, on November 2nd at Yokohama Radiant Hall in Kanagawa, we'll see Yohei taking on Junta Miyawaki and Amakusa versus Tadasuke. The reformation of the Rattel is much to my immense displeasure, Karen. Much to my immense displeasure. I hate the Rattels with
I know you do
a fucking passion.
But Go Shiozaki came back too.
Yeah, but he needs to retire, Karen.
I know, but I'll take it over a Rattel's Redux.
Sure. I just need to see that man be healthy and just leave wrestling in you know, like so he can have a long, healthy life after wrestling. Let's talk about Destruction in Kobe. I did not watch this, Karen. I assume you watched it. Yes.
Yes. Me and Bruce Lord watched and reviewed this show, so you wouldn't have to. So over at the Pro Wrestling Cafe, there is a lovely, lovely conversation with my partner in crime, the Scotch to my ice cream, Bruce Lord. And yes, we go over Destruction in Kobe in depth.
Well, we're not going to go in depth, but what we're like, give me your top 3 highlights of this and what direction you feel the company is going towards the big show with Naito versus Zack.
Okay, so big things: Oiwa being revealed as X and joining TMDK. I thought was a great, nice surprise. It was kind of like one of the worst kept secrets, but I was really excited that it actually happened. Goto doing double duty, both having to, rein in Gabe Kidd and also cornering for Yoshihashi against his match with David Finlay, which personally was one of my favorite matches of the night. And let's see, taking a quick look at everything. Oh, what else of note? El Phantasmo kind of is getting out of his emo P phase and finally decided to join Hantai with Jado. And Doki versus Kanemaru was really, really good.
And unfortunately, he's going to face one of our former favorites, Sho, and that's going to be a complete cluster. You know what? So
I'm hoping, and this is me putting on my fangirl hat, is that Sho circling back around to the junior championship means that Yo's coming back soon. Because that is my hope, that after the shenanigans goes down, that Yo of all people might come out and actually help Doki just so he can jump the queue and be next in line. Or him and Sho are just going to fight forever all the way to the dome, and who knows.
Or maybe Yo's going to turn heel and join House of Torture too. And find his passion for wrestling.
He can turn heel and kick Sho out.
And that'd be better.
Let Sho go back to chaos with his tail between his legs.
Get his last name back. Let him become Sho Tanaka.
Yes, please.
And what would you, how was the Never Championship match between Hanare and Shingo?
I liked Hanare versus Shingo, but we've seen it 3 times in the last less than 6 months. I kind of wish they were spaced out a little bit more. But I also understand why they put the belt back on Shingo, because we are going towards the dome. And when it comes to names that tend to be heavily associated with the Never Openweight Championship in the last couple of years, Shingo's definitely one of those names. Like, I associate that belt with him more than his and I hate to say this, more than his reign as world champion. Because I just feel like there, but I also feel like there could have been more matches for Hanare before he had to drop the belt back to Shingo. But we have less than 3 months to the dome, so it's time to scramble to get the card in order. So,
and Hiroki Goto, following Dave Finlay, successfully defending his global heavyweight championship, he's going to face Hiroki Goto.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't think Finlay needs to lose to Goto. I don't think Goto needs to win the belt. But God damn it, I would love to see Hiroki Goto win this belt.
Those are my exact sentiments. Goto doesn't need the belt. I feel like him and Yoshihashi are probably going to be forever as Bishamon in the tag league doing the tag thing at the Dome, which I wish they would let them do something else. But I feel like at some point Finley's going to have to drop the belt to someone. I do like that he's trying to, pick fights with people that are associated with the white belt, well, the old white belt, the Intercontinental Championship. But the other thing is that Goto, like Yoshihashi, also understand the assignment. It's not their time to shine. It's their time to help somebody else shine. So I'm fairly certain that when Finley and Goto have their match, it's going to be a solid match.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Finley, I think, Finley is very vastly underappreciated in his current role. I think it doesn't help that there's interference in a lot of his matches, but when he's actually in there, like I enjoy his work in this role more than like Jay White, for example, because David Finley, as you like to say, Karen, he understands the assignment and he understands like, oh, before the match, I'm going to be the character.
Yeah.
But during the match, I'm going to be a wrestler because that's how you should do it in Japan.
Correct.
Whereas if he's an American television wrestler like Jay White is now, I'm going to be a character the entire time. That's fine in America.
Yes.
In Japan, not so interesting. Myself, yourself, Eric Marcotte, we understand what it means to be a great champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling and in ProRes in general. And Jay White was not that because he thought he had to be a character the whole fucking time, including in the match. No, I enjoy Jay White much more in AW because I think it's a better place for him and he's doing much better there when he's when he's not injured, unfortunately. So hopefully he's coming. I don't know if he's back yet or not.
I think he did a run in this past week to help Juice.
Yeah. So another person who's better in America is Juice. Yes. And I have not heard anything about this match, Karen. 30 minutes, 54 seconds of fucking Tetsuya Naito and Great-O-Khan. Am I making a mistake not watching this?
If you want to see O-Khan try to keep Naito grounded the entire time and keep the pace with a lot of grappling, you might want to. If you're expecting, if one were expecting 2019, 2018 top of the card Naito putting over somebody in a match, probably not.
All right, so I will not watch that.
The length of the match, I think, was to keep O-Khan looking strong in defeat. But there were some spots in the match where I just got really sad because things were not firing on all cylinders as one would expect.
I think Great-O-Khan in a sub 20-minute match is probably best for his character and for him as a wrestler. Same thing with Naito. I look at this time and I'm just like thinking, nope, I'm not watching a 30 minute plus fucking Naito match in 2024 with his performances this year. There's no way. There's no way. But that being said, Zack Sabre Jr. came out. He made his, I guess, official challenge to Naito. If O-Khan won, which wasn't going to happen, but if O-Khan won, he would make the challenge to O-Khan as the G1 winner. He's going to face Tetsuya Naito at what is it? It's King of Pro Wrestling at Ryogoku Kokugikan. But before we get to talk about that show, Karen, yes, we also have Oiwa. He came out and made the challenge. Oh, that should be good. That should be good. We'll talk about that when we get to King of Wrestling. Yes. But I want to talk about a mutual favorite, Karen. He's having his 40th anniversary show. It's called Wrestling Life 40th Anniversary. Yuji Nagata produce. And I say produce like it's like something you buy at the supermarket.
A vegetable.
Yes. Blue Justice. What is this? 14. Blue Justice Shuen. October 6th at Togane Arena in Chiba. And we're not going to go through the whole card, but the main event, God bless the masters of the exploder suplexes. Two men who paralleled each other in their respective companies in New Japan and All Japan and Pro Wrestling Noah, respectively. Yuji Nagata and Jun Akiyama will team up, Karen. Two men who are good friends with one another. Oh, fuck, I love this tag team. Will take on team of Go Shiozaki and Asushi Katoge. Poor Katoge is just going to eat the pin on this because he is a junior heavyweight and he is going to get the living crap beat out of him by both Yuji Nagata and Jun Akiyama, and I'm sure he'll have the time of his life having that happen to him.
Correct. That is absolutely correct.
Are you excited about the show?
I am. I always love a fun show, and I'm hoping that the show is actually on New Japan World, because sometimes the Blue Justice shows don't make it onto New Japan World. So,
well, I'm assuming because they have cross promotion with Noah that they'll put it on. They'll be like, oh, we can try to get some Noah fans to come over to New Japan World, or maybe part of it was they're going to put on Wrestle Universe. Who knows? That could be it too.
Well, we'll have to see, but yeah, I'm excited. Like, yeah, and Yuji Nagata, I do love that he is doing what he loves 40 years later, and he doesn't seem to be struggling health wise. Like he seems to be healthy and happy, and every day is the oldest he's ever been, but he's having a good time.
Him and Kojima are like evergreen. Like Tenzan is has his well documented physical ailments that you just make me sad to watch him. Nakanishi left, because he just I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
What's his name? Iron Glove Mitten dude.
Oh.
Izuka.
Takashi Izuka.
Yeah, Izuka left because he's like, no, I'm too beat up. I can't even do this dumbass character any justice anymore. But Yuji Nagata still going strong. Not like he was 20 years ago, but hey, he's having fun. He knows what he can do and what he can't do, and he sticks with what he can do and doesn't do what he can't do anymore. And same thing with Akiyama. Akiyama is the same way. But Karen, October 14th, at Ryogokukan, King of Pro Wrestling, one of the big shows. I think probably my second favorite show of the year on the New Japan big event calendar.
Really? After Wrestle Kingdom?
No. The
After
Osaka
Dominion.
show. Dominion, yes. I usually tend to like Dominion a lot. And I usually tend to like King of Pro Wrestling a lot. To the point where I still like going, I would still try to go to them live.
Yeah.
Whereas Wrestle Kingdom, I gave up because I can't enjoy it in live, for sure. But because those shows are still wrestling shows, whereas Wrestle Kingdom is a spectacle.
Yeah.
So, but let's go over. Let's take turns talking about the matches, and I'll start a special singles match. Ooh, Hiromu Takahashi will take on Mystico. That should be fun. But come on, Hiromu, just get the fuck out of the junior league, please. Junior heavyweight league. Just go to heavyweight. Go open weight, heavyweight, whatever.
And just in time for a preview of Super Junior Tag League, we've got the IWGP Junior Tag Team Championships with Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney defending against a returning Kushida and Kevin Knight. This will be their fourth defense.
Oh my God. IWGP Tag Championship match. TMDK, Mikey Nichols and Shane Hayes taking on. Why? Oh, he's back?
He's back.
Add Match Fale and Caveman. I don't know who the fuck is Caveman Agu. Who's this
Caveman Ugg is, I guess he's from New Zealand. He's
I think I've seen him.
Fale Dojo, I think.
Ugh. Please, TMDK, don't lose these titles to fucking Bad Match Fale. Ugh. I'm not watching that match. Go ahead, Karen.
The Never Openweight Championship match featuring the current champion Shingo Takagi defending against the young upstart Ryohei Oiwa.
I think Shingo's retaining.
Yes, but I think Oiwa is going to give him a good match.
Yes, for sure. It'd be great showcase for him to show what he learned fighting everyone in Pro Wrestling Noah. New Japan World Television TV Championship match, 3-way match. our 5th champion, Jeff Cobb, the big man, will take on challenger Yota Tsuji and 2nd challenger Ren Narita. So there'll be a lot of HOT bullshit in this match. But I think Yota Tsuji will come out on top and become the new World Television Champion.
Speaking of HOT bull honky, the Hiroshi Tanahashi 25th anniversary match featuring the ace and president of the company, Hiroshi Tanahashi, teaming with Shota Umino and El Phantasmo against Evil, John Pollock's favorite wrestler, Yujiro Takahashi, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru.
Yeah, sorry. I love you, Tana. I'm not watching this match. Sorry. You know what? Like Shota Umino's looking at Ryohei Oiwa, and he's just like shitting his pants. He's like, oh, this guy's going to take my spot. He's so much better than I am. He's got a better mullet than me, too. Oh.
It's going to be a mullet versus mullet match on the horizon.
IWGP Junior Heavyweight title match. Doki, the current champion, doing a really good job with this belt.
I'm enjoying Doki as champion, and it feels refreshing that it's not the usual triumvirate of Hiromu Desperado and Taiji Ishimori.
No, for sure. We'll take on Sho. I have no hopes for this match, but maybe you're gonna get your wish, Karen, and your boy Yo is gonna come back in some capacity.
That's the only thing I can think that'll make it interesting for me. That'll make me watch. I'll just hate watch it and just cry about how much I hate it. Then we have the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship match with David Finlay defending against Hiroki Goto.
And finally, our main event, Karen, a match I desperately want to go one way, and that is the IWP World Heavyweight title match. 10th champion Tetsuya Naito will take on the G1 Climax winner of this year and the challenger, Zack Sabre Jr. Please, Zach, bring it home. Not to my home in Canada, but to your home in the United Kingdom. But probably your home is actually.
I mean, it would be a nice surprise if he brought it to your home. Show up at your front door. Hey, look what I've got, WH.
Yeah, and I'd be like, I don't even like this belt. Where's the other belt? I like that belt way more. Anyways, I think Zach's gonna win. I think they need to put the belt on him. I think they need to take more. They need to put on Zach. I think the company needs it. He needs it. They need to take it off Naito. He doesn't need it. He actually needs to just go away for a while, rethink how he wants to end his career, because he's working everyone. He's deliberately having bad matches. No, I don't think that's working, people. I think he is shot.
I don't think he wants to be having consistently bad matches. I don't
So
it's one of those things where I think it was. I'm pretty sure I didn't imagine it, but I believe I saw somewhere in an interview that Naito said that he doesn't want Zach to leave. So he wants to, keep dangling the belt in front of him. So he just keeps chasing him for it. But I think it's Zach's time. I think New Japan will have a difficult time keeping Zach around, especially after the rave reviews he's gotten with his matches in AEW as of late. If you're not going to put the championship on him.
No, if I'm Zack Sabre Jr., no matter how much I love living and wrestling in Japan, I'm not saying if I'm not going to be rewarded for my hard work.
He's been there. He's been in Japan for 13 years. He's been consistently one of the names when it comes to talking about foreign wrestlers in Japan for several years now. It's his time, and I think him walking into Royal Quest in 2 weeks with the championship and defending it in England as I wasn't going to say the first British world champion, because that was Ospreay, but the first vegan IWGP World Heavyweight Champion.
Well, I think Zach, because I think you got a lot of possibilities with Zach to headline Wrestle Kingdom more than with Naito. To me, immediately comes to mind a match you can do is 2 matches that come to mind are AW stars right now. One is Bryan Danielson.
Mm-hmm.
You could be not title for title. I don't want to see that, because that just muddies the waters. Just be it for Zach's world heavyweight title, and then
let him keep it.
Let him keep
Don't put it on Danielson.
And the other one is Ospreay.
Yeah.
And anytime I've never seen I've seen a Will Ospreay Ricochet match that I didn't like. I've never seen a Will Ospreay Zack Sabre Jr. match that I did not love.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have amazing chemistry, and I think it would sell out. I would, because Ospreay is still so popular in Japan, and he's on people's minds still in in the fandom. I think him versus Zack for that title would sell out. It'll help draw attendance for either whether Wrestle Dynasty or for Wrestle Kingdom itself.
I would also throw Okada's name in that conversation.
Mm.
Because Okada was one of the walls that Zack could never scale. He was always chasing Okada and chasing the belt. So Okada coming to challenge him for like Wrestle Dynasty would be another match that we could.
So 3 possibilities, right? 3 possibilities: Ospreay, Danielson, and Okada for Zack. Amazing. Naito, honestly, like even with those names, I'm like, no, I just don't, not with the year he's been having.
And we've already, like, as much as I love the LAJ roll call, I don't want the company's entire booking to be centered around having a full LIJ roll call in the dome. It's happened. It's done.
Yes.
Let the man move on to the next stage of his life in peace.
4 years ago, he got to do it. Okay. And all the fucking LIJ fans got their fucking wish. You don't book just for them. Like, no, but we want to see Naito. We want to see LIJ. No, it's done. You peaked. Just fucking move on. Just go become TMDK stands, okay? Or whatever. I don't fucking care. Just stop fucking bothering me, holding this company down with your fucking Naito, insane, illogical Naito love in 2024. Anyways, we're gonna end off with talking quickly about our last show. The main event. There's going to be an amazing main event for one of your favorites, Karen. Taiji Ishimori is going to have. I'm so excited about
the show.
He's producing a show on November 12th, and he originally came from the Dragon Gate system, the Ultimo, the Toryumon system, and he didn't really do much there before moving on to like Pro Wrestling Noah, and then later on New Japan. But Karen, he's never faced this gentleman who is a stalwart of the Ultimo Dragon training system, and that would be the man whose moniker is and look is taken from Ultimo Dragon himself, and that would be Dragon Kid, Mayu Iwatani's hero. So Ultimo Dragon, Dragon Kid will face Taiji Ishimori for the first and probably only time in a singles match at the Chojin Ishimori Taiji Dai ni wa mucho o suru Superhuman Taiji Ishimori does something absurd show on November 12th at Shinjuku Face in Tokyo. What a thing.
Have you seen the promo videos for the series?
No.
Okay, so the first one, when the tag match that gets announced, he's sitting in an office, and like the TV comes on and starts talking to him as if it's like some mysterious person from behind the screen is talking to him. And when he gets told that he's getting a show, he actually asks you, he's like, you mean like Desperado or Hiromu, where it's gonna be at Korakuen Hall? They're like, no, it's at Shinjuku Face. And he's like, what do you mean Shinjuku Face? Like, because he, a lot of the self-produced shows tend to be at Korakuen Hall, which is like the place to have it. And he's like, I get my own show finally after 20 plus years in the industry, and it's at Shinjuku Face, which is a far smaller venue.
Oh yes.
And then they're like, oh, and by the way, you're fighting in all 5 of the matches. So the man is literally going to wrestle the entire show.
So I have 2 of the matches here. One is a 6-man tag. I when I saw this, I just burst out laughing. Taiji Ishimori show, and from Dragon Gate, Shun Skywalker will take on Jeff Cobb, Daisuke Sekimoto, and Shuji Ishikawa. Shuji Ishikawa alone, Karen, is probably heavier than all 3 guys, Ishimori, Sho, and Shinaka combined.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would be really, I am excited about the match. If this was 2020, 2021 show teaming with them, I'd be a lot more excited about the match.
This is going to be a lot of like heelish stuff happening, but like
Show's eating the pin in this match. I've already decided.
Probably Jeff Cobb, right? Jeff Cobb's probably going to beat him, and then Daisuke is just going to throw people around. Like he's going to throw Taiji Ishimori all over fucking Shinjuku Face, it'll be glorious. And then the main event will be again the aforementioned Taiji Ishimori taking on Dragon Kid. I don't think it would be crazy, like as crazy as something like 2016 Taiji Ishimori taking on 2016 Dragon Kid. They're both a lot older, a lot more beat up, but I think they'll still pull out something that will make fans go ooh ah like that.
Yes, I think it'll be a great time.
Now, do we know where this is going? If it's going to be put on somewhere, maybe.
I think it's going to be on New Japan World.
Okay.
Let me check and see. Oh, New Japan Global, where are you?
So, I mean, while Karen's looking at that, I think it's I'm gonna go take a look at these videos I assume they're up on YouTube. I'll take a look at these advertisements for this show. But that's that's something. If I was still in Japan, I would be very, very tempted to go. Like Shinjuku Face is an intimate venue, which makes it more fun to watch wrestling there. And yeah, I don't think it would be that expensive to go, even though it's kind of a New Japan adjacent show. But yeah, I think to see Jeff Cobb kind of return to his indie roots wrestling in a venue as small as Shinjuku Face would be very funny and interesting to see, especially teaming with like Sekimoto and Big Shuj Ishikawa there. Yeah.
It doesn't say anything as to where it's going to be shown, but I'm guessing it's probably going to be on New Japan World.
We'll just assume that, unless
well, since it's in November, right? So hopefully by the time we record the November edition of Post Pro
yes, it's in November.
We'll have a better idea as to what the full card of it is and where it is.
Yes, 5 matches. He's going to wrestle in all of them, and 3 more matches to be announced. And we'll talk about them as they get announced and stuff. All right. Well, with that being said, Karen, let's wrap it up there. Any plugs, any final thoughts before we move on to the end of the show?
Plugs, yes. For those who have been waiting for a Queen of the Villains review at the Post website, yes, it is happening. Yes, it is getting recorded this weekend. I will be joined by friend of Post, friend of the show, JP Houlihan over at Grapple. We are getting back. We're reuniting for the first time in a very long time, and I will be in the driver's seat for the first time on Post Wrestling on the show. It's going to be a little bit of review. We're going to talk about some matches that were actually from All Japan Women's at the time and how they're actually the fictional interpretations, what's real, what's not. It's not going to be a super deep dive because we only have 2 hours to get everything done, but it will go live on the Pro Wrestling Post Wrestling Cafe. I'm sorry, I'm really tired. On the 8th, and then you guys will have a week to discuss it before it goes free to the world on the 15th.
There you go. I look forward to listening to you and JP talk about that. It's a great pairing. I'm very excited to hear you guys talk again. And yeah, myself, I recently recorded the latest episode of The Long and Winding Railroad. Me and Dylan Fox from the Eastern area talk about Yoshinari Ogawa. We kind of do a mini bio of him as we talk about a very famous match he had in 1998 with the aforementioned earlier in the show, Jun Akiyama from All Japan Pro Wrestling. I look for it. I thought it was a really fun show that I did with Dylan, and we try to talk about as much as we can about the recently retired Yoshinari Ogawa and why. I talk about why I didn't really like him when I first started watching All Japan back in the late 90s, Karen, but like how over the years I grew to really appreciate what he was doing. And how he, how it was like nice in retrospect. Like you got someone who's really different, doing different things. He's a technical wrestler, and he wasn't that big compared to like the 4 pillars. So he had to do different things to try to get himself over, and it worked for the most part. So keep that. That's going to be coming out like sometime in the middle of October. So watch the feeds for that, and go pre-order the satin jacket. But you know what else people should go to Chop Tees for, Karen? And that would be wait, let me just get rid of this. Okay. And that would be, it's the fall season, and that's the Empress long sleeve tee.
Look at you. Thank you.
And we have it here in blue. Yes.
Yes, it comes in navy blue and white.
And then
there's also a zippered hoodie. It's cozy season, so all the long sleeves are out there.
There you go. Look at that. It looks very nice.
Thank you.
And what? Yes. So we have the pullover hoodie right here. We got, and also in light blue.
Yes.
Hold on a sec. Let me. I'm not an expert at this. Like we got this one. Oh, that looks very nice. Very nice. And then also in white. Yes. And then we also let's see where else am I gonna go? Yes, the zip hoodie. There you go. Look at that. That's the front. That's the back.
That's the back. There's nothing on the front, just the design on the back.
But you know, like what else people can go get is
the
Perez zip hoodie too. What the fuck? Comes in different colors too. And this is the Great Wave by Hokusai, as reinterpreted by the great Robert Pearson, who I gotta hit him up for another t-shirt design in the near future. I really do. But yeah, there's tons of stuff. Chopped-tees.com for all your merchandise needs if you're a fan of the Post Wrestling Network. And yeah, go check that out. Put some money in our pockets for Christmas for my trip to Japan, please.
Also, I believe I am going to go through the Forbidden Door to MCU later this month.
That's right.
With you and Rich Fan for Agatha All Along, episode 6.
Have you been keeping up?
I have been. I'm really enjoying it.
Oh, this last week, so good. I thought it was such a well done episode.
Yes, that's on my viewing list for tomorrow after I record with JP.
So the current episode, which we had from K&J Comics, Julie, one of the co-owners of K&J Comics, joining me and Rich. That's a free episode, so you can check that out over for free, either on YouTube or anywhere you get your podcasts. So as a sample. So the freeloaders can enjoy MCU later this week. And then next week, I believe it's Neil Flanagan. Their man Neil will be joining me and Rich to talk about. And then I think it's you.
Yes.
And then Nate Milton will be on the finale as usual. I'm excited. I'll be on speaking of Nate Milton, I'll be on Kung Fu Island with him and Brett Chittenden. And coming up, we're recording next week.
What's Kung Fu Island all about?
Kung Fu. It's about kung fu movies or like martial arts movies set on islands and
Hong Kong cinema and stuff like that.
Not necessarily Hong Kong cinema. It just has to be, have martial arts and be on an island.
Okay.
So I'm going to be reviewing. I have to go watch again for the first time, maybe 20 years, Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon. So I have to watch that. I haven't watched that in a long time, so I'm going to go watch that, and I'll talk about it with Brent and Nate, brother Nate, and yeah, keep an eye out on social media for that. I have links on my my social media for when that show drops, where you can listen to that. And yeah, you know what? Thank you, everyone. We're gonna be just shy of 2 hours here, so kind of the equivalent of a Tetsuya Naito match, but not quite. It's a bit better.
If you really want to, you can listen to us at two times speed. I won't be mad at you.
No, neither will I. But on behalf of Karen, Karen, thank you again always for joining me every month here at Post Perez. For Karen, I'm WH Park. Until next time, everyone, I'm gonna say goodbye.